Welcome to the podcast that passes poor performance on pop culture. I'm one of your hosts, Darren Duncan, alongside with my best friend, Audie Marsh. We're just a couple of cool cats casually causing some chaos with conversation. We're here to entertain you, not hurt your feelings. So don't blame us. Chevy, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm great.
So we have a mutual friend, Adam Lentich. He told me to ask you about your name pronunciation. Is there a reason why he would tell me to ask?
Chevy or
Yeah, like is that your real name or do you shorten it? Because he said that you were Irish and that you go by, I don't know. He said something about it. He told me to ask you about your name.
Yes, my name is Chevy. I say to everyone that my mom's name is Mercedes and my dad's name is Bentley. So we keep the car tradition going on.
Nice.
With car names, yeah.
Well, maybe that's what he meant then.
Well, that's kind of like me. I'm Audie, and there's Audi, and then my son's Bentley. So
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so many
I will
options.
never afford a Bentley, so I had to name my kid one.
Yeah, I mean, I still can't afford a Chevy. I'm driving a Toyota currently, but
Oh, there's nothing wrong with Toyotas.
no.
Where are you right now in the country? You're on the East Coast, right?
I'm on the East Coast. I am in the Capital District of New York, so Albany. Yeah, and I'm born and raised here, and I moved back once COVID hit. So just kind of, I was living towards the city before COVID. I was living with a family member, so anytime I was off tour, I'd have a lot of music video opportunities. But once COVID hit, I kind of came back up here just to offset some expenses.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what is it that you do exactly? Like what's the best way to describe it? I know there's so much more to you than just doing makeup, and I felt bad for just putting that on the flyer, but so I'd really like to give you the opportunity to tell everybody what it is exactly that you do.
Yeah, so I for Ice and Kills, I do wardrobe. I take care of their wardrobe on the road. I make sure all the props are ready to go for stage and manage them, and then of course their makeup. That's what it initially started as when I first joined the crew. Of course, over the years, not only did that department grow, but with my free time, I was able to help and wear other hats. So I also will help run and coordinate with my tour manager, VIP, checking people in. We do trivia, so I help come up with the questions and navigate through that, and then just kind of have a helping hand wherever else I can.
That's really cool. It sounds like a really fun job. My dad always said that if you enjoy what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. So would you is that safe to say, or I'm sure there's still some pretty tough days, right?
There are definitely some challenges with each day, but that statement can never hold any more truth to it. It really, especially for me, when being a concert goer, and to start out, like going to the shows and waiting in line for hours and throwing elbows to get to the front of the barricade for the possible glimpse that like any of the band members recognize me, they'll never remember me after the night, kind of thing. To then be on the other side of it and help, put on a show for everybody that's either going to be like their first show or a show for their birthday or, just a show that they've been waiting for months. It's a really rewarding feeling to know that I get to create those memories or experiences for those people. Like I was a part of it in some way. It's a very good feeling.
Yeah, you're like the only person I can really think of where like fans are just as excited to meet you as they are members of the band. Like I see lots of selfies with fans and you. Like that's got to be a really cool feeling to like be a part of that whole package.
Yeah. It's grown over the years, so it's still a bit of adjusting to it, but I still get really excited. Even the past tour, the Trinity of Terror tour, everyone was like, "Oh my god, that shit!" Like I would hear it faintly. And then I kind of like, "Oh my god, are they gonna ask for a photo with me?" And it's really exciting. Sometimes I do have to unfortunately say I can't right now because it's either in the middle of checking people in or I have to run and do something quick, but it's really great. I really appreciate it, and it's nice to be recognized. It's hard to describe it.
Do you ever get any cool gifts from fans? I know a lot of fans like to bring gifts for members of bands, and like since you're kind of like the official, unofficial band member, like do you ever get stuff like that from fans?
Yeah, the fan art is always my favorite. Not only being an artist myself, but just seeing how other people feel so compelled to create art that inspired them either through me or through Ice Nine with me as like the topic, or even the boys, for like the guys, for example, they get some really cool artwork. So fan art will always be like a soft spot for me, but I've gotten some really cool gifts aside from fan art. I don't know if it's considered fan art, but like somebody made a custom Funko Pop of me, and
Oh, really?
yeah, my hair changes color consistently, so it's an older hairstyle, but it just looked so on point, and like I'm trying to figure out like which other Funko Pops got Frankenstein to put it together, but that was really cool. Somebody got me a popcorn maker.
That's cool.
I was mind blown, and I was like, how the what? Yeah, so I've gotten some really cool stuff, but the fan art will certainly always hold like a special place in my heart. Yeah, but it's a really good feeling. It's especially people taking the time to create something that again they feel so inspired by you. It's really
Yeah,
awesome.
like you're in their mind and heart when they're creating this thing, and like I would think, like I can't draw or anything, but I would think if I could draw really well, I'd want to keep it. But I think it's really cool that like they're completely thinking of you and like I'm gonna give this to her. I gotta meet her. I
Yeah,
gotta give this to her. That's
yeah.
such a crazy feeling. I bet that's awesome.
Yeah, there was one time in Europe, this fan, because we only hit so many certain markets in Europe, she definitely traveled from way out of her way. Like I think she was explaining she traveled like maybe 4 hours or something. If my memory serves me well, which it doesn't typically, but it was a very long travel she was talking about. And oil painting, from having an art degree, she explained that she did oil painting, and I was looking at them, and it was very realistic. And the reason oil painting is such a pain in the ass is that sometimes the paint can take up to a week to dry.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so I'm not a fan of oil painting because of that. I have very minimal patience when things dry. So I was looking at them, and I caught myself just mesmerized, like staring at it, like thinking of the time and effort she put into it. So those were some of the artwork that the boys get. Like that, for example, is just mind blowing.
So you tour with them everywhere. You've been overseas with them. Is that like the only time like you've been overseas, or have you traveled the world before this job, or did that take you like to other countries?
So yeah, I mean, Ice Nine has certainly given me a majority of the experiences I've had when it comes to traveling overseas and internationally. The only time I've ever been overseas, non-related to the band, was for a destination wedding, and that was in Ireland. And that was beautiful nonetheless. But with the band, I've been to, oh my gosh, Australia, like Scotland, so many beautiful countries and so many beautiful places, that I couldn't fathom paying my way or not having the chance to go if it wasn't for the band, of course.
So you've been doing this for a while then, because like for them to go to all those other countries, it's been a while that they've done that, right?
It certainly has. So I joined the crew in 2019, spring of 2019, and I've been with them ever since. So
Okay.
that's about a solid 3 years. The anniversary of my joining is around like mid-March. I think March 17th, like St. Patrick's Day, because that's where we filmed the It Is the End music video.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then the March and Amanda's tour, which was my first tour, started nearly immediately after.
So do you do all the makeup for the music videos too then, and photo shoots and stage and everything, or?
So I did. I had a hand in the Silver Screen music videos. I
Cool.
was assisting on A Grave Mistake, assisting on Stabbing in the Dark, and I became the special effects artist for the Merry Xmas skit, the little mini kill scene. That was all my work. And then I did the special effects for It Is the End, alongside another makeup artist, Serafina. I forget her last name, but the director, Dan Horahan, brought me on board. And the current music videos are done in LA through Jensen. And the makeup artist is Missy. She goes by Custom Arts on Instagram. She's phenomenal. She does a lot of our props and stage equipment when it comes to like characters and other stuff for tour. She does amazing work.
So I got a question for you. So how did this come about? How did you come on board on Ice Nine Kills? Did they like, was there like an audition, or was it like?
Yeah, I was going to ask, because you're really good at what you do, obviously. So how long have you been doing it before you got hired on as part of their crew, and then how did that even happen?
So to Cliff note it as best as possible without super detailing, I've always been...
You go as long as you want, because we got an hour to fill and all we do is talk. So
okay, cool.
You just take your time.
My family has always been the spooky family. Like I grew up on Halloween. I watched my first horror movie like when I was 4. So horror and Halloween has always been my thing, my family's thing. So it was no surprise that I would eventually dive into it in some capacity. I didn't start my professional makeup career until maybe 5 years ago. So 3 years into Ice Nine has been a majority of it. But nonetheless, so 2018, I had graduated college. And that summer was Warped 18, where it was the biggest one. And the day that Ice Nine was playing in Homedale, New Jersey, because I was going to college towards Manhattan, I was moving out of my apartment and saying goodbye to my ex-best friend. And it took so long for me to move out of my apartment that I missed their set, but I still went just to enjoy the day. And because I had nothing going on that summer, I'd already graduated college, literally no plans. I just went to Hartford, Connecticut, because I was nearby, saw their set, and basically had asked for my job that day when I went to go see them. They were doing like a $5 that you get an autographed picture poster, like a very passing meet and greet. And when the American Nightmare single was also released that summer, so I did like a bone exposure SFX look and tagged everybody, and Spencer noticed it. So when I paid $5 for the poster, I finally got to Spencer, and I just like blurted it out there. I was like, what do I have to lose? He could say no. So I just asked him, I was like, do you need a special effects artist? Like, I can travel. I have nothing going on. I don't even have to do the makeup. I would just love to help out if you have projects coming up. And Daniel Horahan, which the director, was there that day, and Spencer introduced me to him, and I got contact. And then the next month I was brought on for Grave Mistake and Stabbing in the Dark. So that connection was made through doing the music videos, and they were Ice Nine was coming on tour with Atreyu and doing around East Coast states. So I went to go say hi, see them, and they were kind of doing the costume stuff. Like Spencer had his Freddy sweater, JD was still in the band at that point, and he had his Jason costume. Patrick, the drummer, had his camp counselor costume still. So watching how they went about their day, like carrying the costumes in, like I think there was one show somebody said, "Oh shit, I forgot my costume. I have to run to the bus or run to the bandwagon and grab it." And so after seeing all that, I was just thinking, I was like, what if somebody like did that for them? What if that somebody was me? So I did the same thing. I reached out to the tour manager. I reached out to Spencer, and I just asked. I was like, do you want somebody to come on board and do this? Do you want somebody to help you? Like, I would love to be that person. I would love to help build your image, build the production, like whatever. And they just said yes. So through asking, I've just been with them ever since.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you started as a fan of the band then, right?
Yeah. I mean, I listened to their music. I wasn't super familiar. I was familiar enough to know that I enjoyed their music, and if it was something I was to listen to every day, they'd be fine in my book.
Right.
I never treated them as like, oh my God, like oh my god, it's Ice Nine Kills. I would just be like, oh, okay, like this is Ice Nine Kills. They're people, and I get to paint their faces. That's pretty cool. So,
Right.
yeah, I always like telling that story, because it feels really good to kind of give that inspiration to other people. Like the worst thing you could ever be told is no, or you
Right.
can simply get what they call like a New York no. It's just simply no response.
Okay.
Which
It's like you miss every shot you don't take, right?
yeah,
So no, that's amazing. That is a good word to use, like inspiring, because that's really, really great that happened that way. That's very cool.
yeah. I sometimes I'll think back to it after I tell the story is what if I didn't go to the Warped Tour, and what if I didn't ask, and what
Yeah,
if I
no
let
shit,
my
right?
anxieties take over? Like it's always fun to play the what if game, but then play what if too long and you go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's like they say, like, worrying is a waste of imagination.
I like that. That is so accurate.
Right.
Genius.
So right? So, whose idea was it for you to start playing characters on stage? So if you've been with him since 2019, then I definitely seen you, like, you dress up as Jason's mom, right?
Yes.
And then
Yes.
you wear the Jaws costume. Is
Yeah.
that you?
Okay.
Yeah?
So
That shit's hilarious.
that was great. I love the Rocking the Boat. I love how creative it was to include all like the different album titles in it too.
Right.
So it was the first show day, actually. I had no intention of going on stage. I didn't think anything of it, and it didn't cross my mind that would be an option. I was fully prepared to be behind the curtain, behind the scenes, making sure like everything is going to be good. Like they were good. And I remember it was Syracuse at the Lost Horizon for our first show. Super low ceiling. I almost hit my head on that bar. I think Ricky actually hit his head on that bar. But Spencer comes up to me. He goes, "How would you feel about coming out on stage?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Do you have theater? Like, have you been on theater before?" And I have. He goes, "Would you want to be Jason's mom?" I said, "What do I have to do?" He goes, "Just be very menacing, like lurk and obviously come up for your part." So it started out with Jason's mom. And I wasn't the shark originally. It was our merch person at the time. He took a break and would come up and do the shark costume, and I would help him get in and out of it, which then eventually evolved into me becoming the shark with a different shark costume that was twice the size. And the narrow hallways were not my friend, to say the least. It got very hot in there, too. But it started out with Jason's mom. And then Lori was introduced for our Europe headliner, and then they just kept adding.
Yeah, 'cause
But
last time I saw him, you were, Reagan from The Exorcist for
yes,
the communion to the cr I was like, "Holy shit, you were bending backwards." It was so gnarly to see. I was like,
yes,
"Fuck yeah, that's awesome."
that's my personal favorite. And when most of the time when Spencer will come to me with a character, he has an idea of how he wants it to go, and we'll kind of like go back and forth on different ideas. And there will be times where we have to figure out choreography between him and me alone, and then we kind of like figure out with the other three guys, because there have been times where I've been stepped on or I've collided with people. So habitually we try to figure out where I should come in, when I should leave, what initially is the idea, and then we'll work around it. But yeah, Reagan's my favorite, and the backbends were my idea. So I think when we first started to do it, Spencer was not anticipating it, and Patrick actually has admitted before that he can't watch my characters or Reagan for a prime example, because he'll get distracted and he'll forget where he's at.
Right.
um, but yeah, it's usually Spencer's idea with a character he wants to introduce, and then we will bounce ideas back and forth on how to execute it, where to enter on stage, when to leave, how he wants to kill me. So it's a lot of fun. My paycheck comes from dressing up and dying on stage.
Right.
It's a lot of fun.
I was thinking there had to be some kind of choreography involved because on them with them lights going, you can't always see everything, and then you're in the movements. You're gonna jump and spin the neck of your guitar, whatever, and you don't want to catch one to the face.
Yeah.
So, has there ever been any like prop mishaps or wardrobe malfunctions or?
Oh, plenty. So
Yeah.
many. If by that question, it makes me feel good that they're not easily seen. The first time I've ever actually lost a wig for Reagan because of the back bends was actually this past Europe tour. It just came right off. I don't know. I thought it was secure and it wasn't. It just came right off. But we've definitely had collisions. Not too many props like go flying. A lot of them are pretty secure, but I've dropped my knife for Mama Voorhees very often. Like I just try to be menacing and like swing it around, do something cool with it. I've dropped it so many times. I'm sure anybody that has been in the front barricade could see it, and I just keep going with it. I can't stop. Nobody's I don't know if anybody's been dinged with the machete or the shovel before. I want to say probably, but it's been such like a passing, like you hit me with this and then it's never spoken about again. But it happens. It's there. We try to cover it up pretty smoothly though. So
To say, yeah, the show must go on, so you just gotta act like it didn't happen and improv or whatever.
yeah, my favorite that Spencer has incorporated is for him to be scared. He'll end up like tossing the head for dramatic emphasis.
Right.
But then I have to figure out where the hell it ended up. So I'm like,
that's
trying
yeah.
I'm trying to find just a severed head on stage. And it's so funny saying that out loud. It's like, yeah, I have to, travel with a severed head. I have to.
Yeah, what do you do
out...
for a living?
Yeah. Just have all of these props. And festival days are very interesting, although sometimes the props will wander off for photo ops, and I have to visually.
Yeah, I was thinking that, or like I wonder if they've ever been stolen or if they break, what do? You got to run to because there's no Halloween stores in February, so
so typically with a lot of these custom pieces that Missy builds for us, I will request doubles depending on what they are, and also considering like, okay, is this something that is going to be used in a way that could break easily? Like if I examine it, I have to visually see how rough Spencer is going to be with it, how long it's going to be in use, because some props are used for the whole song and then there are some that are used for like a small moment. So like the axe, for example, like it's used for a very small part for Hip to be scared, but he's literally swinging it aggressively, and they're all foam. Well, the axe is foam. Some of them are not, but the axe is foam. And we've had multiple axes, one of which, because he swung it, when he went back, the head fell off, like just flew and almost hit Patrick in the face. So the next axe had to be like sealed. I glued it and everything. But yeah, some need to be doubled up. I've had, back when we were doing the mic props, when Joe, our bassist, was the Crow, Ricky was Georgie at that point. Like I would decorate the mic props respectfully to the characters they would dress up as. And I remember one show, somebody stole the roses that I would put on Joe's mic stand, and I was very upset. I was visibly very upset. Just because, like I can respect people's like excitement and that they like just want something from the show. But as far as props go, it's I feel like that's a boundary. Like that's a line shouldn't be crossed.
right.
Because I need that for the next show. You take it. I don't have it. Nobody's gonna be able to.
It costs money to make.
It does. It costs money. And so yeah, props have been stolen before. They've gone missing. So it does suck that people feel they can just kind of enter that bubble and take it, because if you enjoy the show so much with everything that we offer, if you take it, then that kind of ruins everything. So
yeah, that's a really good point. And of all the things to steal, it's like, really, You took the goddamn roses.
Took,
You know?
took my roses. We don't really decorate the mic stands much anymore, but one of our pickaxes for Take Your Pick went missing. I found it by the end of the night because it was on the other side of the stage. Again, more than likely used for a photo op. I think the chainsaw was moved to a different spot than where I originally put it. So none of the big props have been taken, but the easily accessible ones have been misplaced. So luckily, I'll keep my fingers crossed and knock on wood that nothing goes wrong. But
Right.
nothing super drastic that it's been, how the fuck are we going to find this? So
Right. You said earlier that you've always been into spooky stuff. So, like, did your mom and dad bring you up that way then? Or was it always like the family was into Halloween and scary movies and stuff?
Oh, yeah. My mom definitely made sure it was, My mom, like horror, I can't even explain. Like, horror movies every night, even to this day. Like, my mom loves to watch horror movies. She's on almost every single streaming platform. I give her my Shudder account because she can keep up with it more than I can. Like my first horror film was Demon Knight: Tales from the Crypt. And
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's a good one.
Yeah, like when The Ring came out, watched it. I think I was, oh God, I don't know, 7, 8. We'll watch that.
God, I'm old.
I'm sorry.
So your parents got to be insanely proud then that you're able to make a living off that and traveling with a band, and especially the horror movie theme. That's got to be really cool for them. That's awesome.
Even some of my friends, like who've known me majority of my life, like grew up with me, they tell me, they're like, you couldn't have gotten a more perfect job for yourself. You're doing makeup, you're doing special effects makeup at that, and it's a horror band. Like, come on, like those are all your checkpoints, and just it's awesome to see where you're at. So it's a really good feeling, and I definitely feel I lucked out in some capacity, in some way too.
I must ask real quick, since we're on the horror stuff, favorite horror movie? Go.
Oh God, okay.
Don't say Scream, please. Don't.
No.
Yeah, we don't want to say that.
No, I respect Scream and I like it for what it is, but it's not like a go-to for me. I would have to
I
say,
feel you.
like an overall horror movie that I will just always enjoy, no questions. Is Texas Chainsaw 2003.
No, that's not bad.
No, and the reason is that, again, it's just a movie that, like, a comfort horror movie that I will put on. I will always enjoy it. The way they did it is just 10 out of 10. But my favorite genre is the occult, like The Exorcist and like that type of genre. But my favorite franchise is Hellraiser.
Oh yes,
yes, I love Hellraiser. I think the Cenobites and
right here. How do I get my fingers to?
It's too dark. You can't see it anyway.
Oh yes, that's sick.
It's life size.
There he is.
Love that. Yeah, like I know there's supposed to be a Hellraiser remake coming up, and I heard that there's supposed to be a female lead. Yes, so I am I'm
excited,
interested, and so curious. I'm really looking forward to that.
I've always wanted to see them remake The Crow with a female lead. I thought that would be amazing if a woman and her kids got killed and she come back to avenge the death of her kids. I think Eva Green would make an awesome Lady Crow.
That would be great too.
I like her, but fuck Audie because he's making fun of Scream. That's my favorite horror movie. So
we'll stab at you.
Yeah, I respect it. I think everything that they accomplished with that is fantastic. But
it just came out at the perfect time for me. I was in 6th grade. I saw it in the movie theaters. It was like the first movie I got to pick out. That's for being a scary movie. You know what I mean? So I grew up with that franchise. That's why it's my absolute favorite. And it's just a pure coincidence that that's Spencer's favorite movie too. And I've always been into metal and I've always been into horror, but I didn't know who Ice Nine Kills was until all my friends were telling me, you got to check out this band because all their songs about horror movies. And I let it sit for like a year. I'm like, whatever. I'll listen to them. And then I did and just fucking fell in love. I was like, holy shit. Now they're my favorite fucking band.
Yeah.
And it's nuts.
Darren definitely turned me on to him too. He's like, bro, you gotta listen to this band, bro. And I knew they'd been out for a year or two. And I'm like,
Oh, they've been out way longer than
You know
that,
what I
but
mean? I
Oh,
was
by the
like,
yeah.
time
I was like, all right. Well, when you told me, asshole.
yeah, that CD was out for like a year or
Yeah,
two by
I
the
was
time I
like,
told you about it.
yeah, I knew there. Yeah, and then he turned me on. He's like, this is like the greatest band ever. And actually, when I went up to see Darren, we listened to Ice Nine Kills like all night till like 7 in the
Yeah.
morning,
Nice.
hammered drunk.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah,
So,
they really nailed the Silver Scream. Like there are a couple songs I will skip. I'm not gonna lie. I also have a little bit of PTSD with Love Bites, but
really?
yeah, I had to dress up as a nurse, and there was like a little serenading moment with Spencer, and just because it was so quick, it felt like not. It just didn't felt like a perfect executed kind of character on stage for me. So like it just was a dreadful moment um when we did the song for me, but still did it. It was fine. Um, and then Freak Flag I'll listen to every once in a while, but any other song on that album is 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that's like I don't throw the word masterpiece out there very often, but it's like
Yeah,
damn near a masterpiece to me, in my opinion anyway. But
yeah.
what's it like being a lady touring with a bunch of dudes? Like what's was your mom like, fuck that, you're not doing that? Or like that's gotta be different. It has to be, right? So
It is definitely not easy. Not even the whole aspect of like touring with dudes. I mean, granted, like that alone is something challenging, just because they're all disgusting, they're dudes, right? uh but yeah, when I first told my mom, I was like, hey, I'm gonna be on the road for 3 months with like 7 guys, and my tour manager is also a woman, so like that was like a nice relieving point of it. But yeah, I was like, I'm gonna just go travel the US for 3 months with some guys doing makeup, whatever. And she was like, all right, like if you're uncomfortable, like you just let me know. She wasn't gonna tell me what to do. I already made up my mind. I already left my job. I already said yes. So
right.
um I because I had already kind of worked with them, I didn't have too much hesitation towards it. Like Ricky was very welcoming. Patrick was also like welcoming. So those two alone, like I felt like I could trust on them. And if something were to go wrong, I wouldn't feel alone. I didn't feel like I would have to fend for myself. So that was really relieving. And yeah, I mean, going forward, it is a man's industry, to say the least. You walk in, you kind of have to have this bitchy but stern attitude that you're there to do work and you're not just there to, oh, yeah,
Right.
you know.
Like, are you familiar with the band White Zombie?
Oh yeah,
Right. All right. Sorry, that's a stupid fucking question, but I
yeah,
don't
it's
know.
good.
So the bass player Sean, she's a lady,
Mhm.
and she wrote a book called "I'm with the Band" because like that was what she had to fucking say day in and day out on tour because they thought she's a groupie or whatever, or trying
Yep,
to get a peek backstage, and like I'm in the fucking band, dude. So
yep,
the lanyards didn't matter; they didn't believe her. It's like that's got to be rough, man. So yeah, you
yeah,
got to have like that confident attitude, like I'm at fucking work, asshole. You know?
yep. I definitely have like I wear my walkie like super visible so that they
Right.
know like I'm crew. Like even with my lanyard out too, like it's on my fanny pack or my carabiner, like wherever I'm wearing. Like again, I try to go in the venue with no makeup on so they see that I'm crew. But it's definitely rough. Like usually I will always push my own gear, but if we have hands, because some of my gear is just so obscure and long and heavy that I'll like pull it out and I'll be like, all right, this got to go over there, and they listen. But more than half the time, what the funny thing is, I'll have a promoter or somebody from the venue come up to me and they'd be like, okay, so where are you setting up merch? Which is not a thing. Like I don't, not to shit on merch people, specifically merch girls, like that is a challenge in and of itself, and I can't math very well, so kudos to you. But I just find it funny how like merch is typically associated with merch girls. So when they come up to me, I'll be so quick and slightly, you know, with a little bit of a sting to it. It'd be like, oh yeah, our merch guy, he's over there. You can go talk to him about it. Because usually my department is stage. Like I am on stage. I'm working on stage. So, but yeah, it's definitely a challenge. And then just being on tour in general, like minimal privacy. You have to learn to live out of a single suitcase. Be comfortable with the fact that you'll be wearing like jeans for 4 days straight with swamp ass. Like it's crazy.
Right. It's really cool to see you break that stereotype of like the merch girl, because they usually got like the goth chick, and I totally get it. I totally fucking get it. But
Yeah.
that's another way that you're inspiring to ladies, is because it's like, well, fuck, if she can do it, man, why can't I? And then they'll like break out of that mold and try it and like get over their anxieties and things like you said earlier.
Yeah. I am very active on my socials, and I like to talk about it as often as I can without being annoying. And my number one question I'm always asked is, how do I get your job? How do I do what you do? And it really sucks because I wish I had a better answer other than just go do it. But it really is just go do it. But for people that specifically want to do, you know, makeup with bands, or they want to be a touring makeup artist, not many bands are doing that right now. And I hate to say, like, you know, eventually more bands will do it because you never know. However, the easiest way to start it is just music videos are going to be the most accessible. Yeah. And just talk. You have to talk to people. You have to be a social butterfly. You have to go to shows. You have to shoot in the DMs and hope somebody sees it or even responds. And again, like, you might never get an answer. You might be left on red. You might get a no. You get a yes. But it's a matter of not fearing rejection and just hoping somebody's willing to give you the chance. But, you know, again, not many bands are touring that are doing makeup that are even going to open up a position to have a makeup artist with them, because, you know, like in this moment and Motionless in White, and even like some of the bigger bands, like as far as like I think Korn and Ghost, like they are either doing it themselves or they've switched it up to where they already have their people established. And it's harder to be getting into those kind of camps. And any bands that are going to open up those positions might not pay what it's worth it. And it's not because they don't want to, it's just because either they don't have the budget or they're not in a position where they can pay what would be worth it to somebody, or if somebody's willing to, you know, pay the lower budget, if they can even pay. So there's a lot of factors and a lot of things to consider when looking to have that kind of position.
Yeah, I was gonna say that you're another person to feed, and you're another person to. I mean, they got to pay us, so yeah, that's a lot. What were you gonna say, Audie?
No, I was gonna say, you know, people who ask you that at the same time, not to be blunt or an asshole to them, you got to be good. You know what I mean? Like,
that is the other thing. Yeah, you definitely.
You've obviously proven your point with the guys,
yeah.
You know, the band. So you're definitely a keeper. But you know, for those to ask, hey, what do I do? You know, it's you got to be good at it. You got to follow the dream, but you have to be good at the dream. I guess in a sense, you know.
Yeah, that is the other unspoken thing about it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to bluntly just tell the fans, hey,
right.
If you suck,
are you good? Can you do it?
You know, I mean, Darren would. I probably would. It's like, if you suck, you ain't gonna make it. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't say that, you asshole. Are there any other bands that you've worked with?
Not touring. Ice Nine has been my one and only band so far. I'm open to the idea of touring with other bands, but I don't think anybody needs a makeup artist or somebody drastic enough for wardrobe just yet. But I've worked with music videos. I've done one with Moontooth. They're Long Island, New York based. I've done one with Varsity. They're Brooklyn, New York based. What else have I done?
Well, maybe now that these other bands that are touring with Ice Nine Kills, they'll see how smooth it runs and how helpful you are, and they'd be like, "We got to get us a girl like that," you know. So
I have talked with a couple of them.
Yeah,
yeah. They I always love hearing, because it's been the same comment, like, well, we don't really need any makeup, or I don't think we need makeup, but maybe we'll just start wearing it just so we could take you out.
Right.
And I just sit there and be like, oh wait, You have my number.
Well, just
Yeah.
just by what little bit we've talked with you, I see you more as just a makeup artist at this point. You know, from just what everything you've said and done. Uh,
Yeah, you're a very
so
important piece to the
yeah,
tour, to
you're
that
more
whole
than just a
package,
makeup
man.
artist. So
Yeah.
you know, like
100%.
you bring a lot to the table just from this conversation that we had.
Thanks.
So
What
yeah,
is a what is a
I-
typical day like for you on tour? Like from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, because you got to be busy all day, and then also I'd like to hear what you do in your downtime.
Yeah. So there are days I don't get to eat super often. I'll
I
ask somebody
bet.
to go get me food. But yeah, like sometimes my days start as early as 8 a.m. and I don't leave the venue until 2 a.m. You know, on a typical Ice Nine headliner, we get to the venue, we crack open the trailer, go inside, like evaluate how much space we got. I will typically be on one side of the stage to set up my stuff, whereas audio and everything will be on the other side, and then front of house in the center of the room. Every venue is a little bit different, so we assess that and then look into the green rooms where I'm going to set up my makeup or how everyone's going to be separated and situated. And then start bringing in all the gear. I separate my gear. I'll wait for the green light to start cracking open cases. We now have a wardrobe dressing room case, so I bring that up, set that up, get the costumes laid out if they need to air out. If there's laundry, I start laundry as soon as possible so they got fresh clothes, and then start counting at VIP. To Trinity of Terror, we had many pieces to go, and then of course the posters had to be autographed. So I felt very annoying to constantly knock on doors to get people to sign posters, but that
Oh
was
yeah,
one.
because it was all 3 bands, right?
Yes.
God damn, it sounds like that tour would have fell apart if you weren't there.
I cannot take all the credit. Like there were many moving parts of that tour to make it go as smooth as it did. But yes, there were many moving parts for that tour to run smooth crew wise.
Right.
Massive tour, fantastic tour. But I think a lot of things as far as production were overlooked and not thought about, to say the least.
Okay.
Not considered. I mean, we made it work. We hauled ass, and like even with bus issues and everything, like we did the tour. We survived. But yeah, that VIP had a lot of little pieces. Like there was a bag and the posters. I had to roll the posters, put the posters in the tubes. They were protected. So VIP will usually take up most of my day, just making sure I have the right count, separating for the next day. So VIPs, we have usually 100 a day. So that's 100 pieces, and there's multiple pieces to a package. So yeah, making sure all that's counted. I have to put that by the door, so I'm not carrying I got noodle arms and I carry what I can carry, or I'll ask for help. So usually counting out VIP will take a majority of my day, and then I follow back up with my stage stuff to make sure that's set. I wait for the green light by my audio guy, Elmo, to make sure all his mics are on Patrick's drum kit so I can lay out all Spencer's props, Spencer's masks, and then I wait to see when I can start laying out everybody else's masks and props. I'm constantly running around to see if okay, so if they're busy in this department, I'm gonna go check on this corner of the venue so I can fix this. Okay, this is done. I can go back and follow up with this, and then VIP time rolls around pretty quick, and I start checking kids in. And then I talk poorly because I stutter on words.
So it's like a makeup artist / stage manager.
I not specifically stage manager, but more or less like as far as staging goes, my stuff plays a huge role. So our production manager will make sure like spacing for me is taken into account, because it is known that, well, if I'm not on stage, I'm somewhere else doing something else. And that's why the lovely walkie-talkies come. They're like a godsend on tour. Follow up to see like, all right, Chev, what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing this. Do you have a second to come to stage so I can, confirm this with you? Yes or no? Yeah. So it's a very busybody job for me. And any downtime that I have, I feel like I just found a quiet corner to just sit. I'll occasionally run out of the venue to like go see if there's a local coffee shop or like a sweet treat shop nearby, just to like treat myself. And I don't go out after shows too often, but on the off chance that I do, it's for a short period of time. But usually after the show and all my gear's loaded up, I help my tour manager clean up the venue, just because they already have so much to do cleaning up after the show. There's no reason that they need to clean up after us. So I make sure the green room is in adequate shape. It's not too much of a mess between food, or make sure nobody left anything behind, bring it onto the bus, put the food away, and then I crawl into my bunk and I do it all again the next day.
Do you guys make many stops on the road? Like, you don't, like, Spencer can't walk into a Walmart. He's too popular, I would think. Or do you guys do those, or you got someone on the bus that, you know, if they ran out of underwear or whatever, they want Subway or whatever, like, you got people for that? Or you all just don't pull into a Walmart parking lot, right?
No, I mean, so usually on off days, it's the same for every band, right? Is that like an off day? What do you do on an off day? Like, what would you do on an off day, depending on where you are? Because there are times where we've been, prime example, one of our off days, we ended up in Roanoke, Virginia. Well, what the hell is in Roanoke, Virginia, right? It's not what you think, because it's not the American Horror Story part, because I looked it up just to confirm, because I wanted to go see if I could find something cool, and it's not there. Apparently,
so there's like no museum of that,
nothing. No,
that colony that vanished or whatever.
The colony is actually somewhere in the Carolinas, nowhere near Roanoke, Virginia.
Those false advertising dicks.
Such false advertising.
I hate this movie now.
I was like, I've been bamboozled. I've been lied to. So yeah, a typical off day, depending on where we end up, is mall crawling.
Okay.
I shit you not. It's mall crawling, or movies, or Top Golf if it's nearby. Sometimes Dave and Buster's. Dave and Buster's you have to do every once in a while because it's pretty repetitive, and Top Golf can be repetitive. So we treat it as like a once in a while treat to ourselves. And but yeah, it's very hard to find fun things to do on an off day, because sometimes, depending on the drive, with how we end up, and if the driver needs to sleep or anything like that, it's a gamble. So like when we were rolling through Roanoke, Virginia, we just ended up at some parking lot at the mall, and we were there for a day, and some of us went to the mall, some of us watched movies in the theater all day, and then some of us went to a nearby Walmart and just got outdoor games and played badminton outside the bus. So it really just depends. It also depends on the type of person that you like, how you want to spend your off day. Patrick is typically the one to go to the movie theater and just watch movies all day. Joe likes to walk around and explore. Spencer, and usually off days, we always get a hotel room. So Spencer spends most of his time in his hotel room, usually because he has interviews or he's like catching up with business stuff. And he'll go out to dinner later. Our tour manager takes care of everything for the upcoming and relaxes herself. Everyone has different vibes. I don't know where I end up. It depends on where I'm at, what I'm feeling, who's feeling social, who's not, who wants their alone time. So it really just varies.
Have you ever like been concerned for your safety? Like you accidentally end up in like a sketchy area? Because we had a guy on our podcast and how they totally spent the night in a really terrible side of town, and they woke up and we got to get the fuck out of here before we get robbed. They were basically right outside of like a housing project, and it was like that's when they first started touring, and they didn't really plan things out very well. But has that ever happened to you, or probably not? I'm assuming, right?
I think we've been fortunate enough to not come across anything like that when it comes to an off day. But there definitely have been times with shows that we've come across some pretty not okay situations. I mean, naturally, when you're on a tour and there's like street parking and like the door to the bus leads out to the main street, you have to look both ways and be mindful, make sure I remember there was one of our New York City shows, somebody opened up the door and actually clocked a biker.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Don't ask me who, because I don't remember. But that happened, and you okay? Just kept going. It's fine.
So I must ask, Worst and best states you've toured through.
Oh God. I've always enjoyed Utah for landscape. I'm a sucker for landscape, architecture, all that kind of stuff. So going to Europe is like a blast for me. I'm constantly like a tourist looking up at everything. But I like Utah. I love the mountains. Super beautiful. I am a little partial to touring in the South just because I'm a vegetarian and they don't have a lot of vegetarian options. Even for some of our vegan guys, they're not they don't have a lot of food options for us. But yeah, I could probably do without like Florida.
Fuck you, Audie.
I could just do without. I could do without
Yeah.
Florida.
Audie's from Florida, so haha.
Okay.
Fuck you.
It's fine. I'm fine with like visiting.
I
for the
call
day.
Florida God's junk drawer.
It's the greatest state
Well,
ever. Shut the fuck
I'm in Illinois, and Illinois is just
Okay.
Yeah,
so
you have
corrupt.
no room to talk, bro.
No, I don't. It's the government's corrupt as shit in Illinois, and Audie here's a veteran, and he said that the roads in Baghdad are nicer than our roads here in
Absolutely.
Illinois. So
I mean, the roads in New York are not that much. I feel like anywhere you go, there's new potholes being planted, so more construction could be done.
yeah,
at
it's
some
like
point.
welcome to Chicago. Would you like some potholes with your crime?
Oh
Like,
my God.
restaurant.
I will say Chicago has some pretty bad roads.
Oh yeah.
Driving through Illinois, it's always like all right, let's see how bad the roads are tonight. Who's gonna
Right.
sleep the worst? But yeah, I always enjoy driving out like Colorado and Utah. It's just I love looking at the mountains.
It seems like it'd be pretty peaceful.
Yeah,
Be cool.
and I don't know, something about the South and not having food for me kind of sucks. So
Yeah, I
that's
was
my only
thinking. I
kicker.
figured there'd had to be at least one vegetarian or vegan because isn't Patrick? Is he vegan or vegetarian?
Yep, Patrick's
I s-
vegan. Joe is vegan. I'm vegetarian. We've had other vegetarians on tour with us, but I have been solid for about 3 years, also being vegetarian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be rough between everybody. Like, where are we gonna eat tonight? And everyone's got to figure out what they're gonna get because you're not gonna get Taco Bell, you know. So.
Oh no, Taco Bell has great vegetarian options.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah. Most
Cool.
of their menu is vegetarian, and honestly, like ever since cutting out meat, like just for Taco Bell alone, like cutting out meat, let me just say, my stomach doesn't hate me, and I don't get an upset stomach much anymore. So
Good. That's good.
that's been like the best takeaway for me. They have vegan options, but between having no cheese and everything, and no sour cream, it's a little slimmer, but it's still an option. And then of course the dreadful Impossible burgers. If you ever ask a vegan what's it like to eat on tour, and you ask them if they want an Impossible burger, just wait for the reaction, because so it's just dreadful because it's usually the only option ever is just an Impossible burger.
Oh, that sucks.
It's like every day. It's like if I ever have to eat another Impossible burger on the road, I'm just gonna put my head through a fucking wall. Like I'd rather eat just straight beans at that point.
Well, I've never had one. I'm gonna get one just so I can feel your pain. I'll check out an Impossible burger.
They're good. I mean, I'm probably biased, but a lot of places actually are starting to incorporate more plant-based options, which is really nice. But my mom, I took her to a vegan joint local to Albany, and she was blown away. She's like, I wouldn't have never known this is plant-based or not meat. And I was like, yeah, that's what you're missing out on.
So hearing words like from a metal band, like using words like vegan and vegetarian, like the dudes, they're probably not like partiers or crazy, huh? Like you hear back in the day, like a lot of the metal bands touring were just going ape shit and partying, but you guys are all pretty chill and professional, I would assume, right?
Yeah, very chill. Like the only people that like really will go out and not even go out and party hardy, right? Like they'll go out and socialize is like Patrick, some members from our crew, Ricky every once in a while, but of the band, it's probably Patrick, and then our touring guitar player Chris. We'll go out and
that
socialize.
he's the guy that's filling in for Dan, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I'll go out and socialize as long as my schedule allows me. Also depends on bus call, but yeah,
Right.
like we don't party hard very like often at all. Like if it's an off day, we'll go out and socialize with each other again, depending on what the vibe is and where we're at. But we don't Motley Crue it or anything
Right.
like that.
Throwing TVs through windows and shit
Oh,
like that.
God, no. It's
Right.
funny
I
when
figured.
when I told my mom I was going on tour, she's like, I can't imagine all the drugs you guys are going to do, and you're going to be a changed person when you come home. And then she came out to one of the shows, and it was funny because she said to me after, she goes, I was expecting like this, and this, and you guys are just a bunch of nerds. Like you don't do anything. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll take it.
That's amazing. That's the
Yeah.
coolest thing I've heard in a long time. That's fucking hysterical. So with 5 minutes left, I really wanted to ask you about what was it like doing a private signing with Vintage Authentics? Like that had like people want my autograph. Holy shit. And like
Oh,
that's gotta be fucking awesome, right?
yeah. When Adam reached out to me, I had to like double check the email, and I admittedly reached out to Ricky too. I was like, is this legit? Like, is this, can I trust this?
Right.
Cause I never know. And like, especially something like that, it's totally new to me. I didn't know, and I was not expecting it. And Ricky was like, oh no, this guy's awesome. Like, please do it. Like you're going to love it. So, talking with Adam and like getting some fine lines, combed out, and I sent him photos over. Yeah, I was just blown away. And it was very thorough. He was like, this is silver, this is gold, this many photos and this many photos, and then this and that. Like, so like I was blown away, but it was really exciting. And to see some of the fans like have such a strong response to it too, I was like, oh, shit. And
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I can't think of any band in the history of ever that like has a crew member or whatever like that is that popular. It's fucking
Yeah.
good for you. That's so cool, man.
Thanks.
I'm happy
awesome.
for you. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Very
when
cool.
when I had to figure out how I was going to sign it, I was in the kitchen. I was like with my mom. I was like, what do I do?
Practice.
Like, do I do this? Do I do this? I had at least 2 pages full of just scribble, and she was like, just sign your damn name. I was like, but it matters. It matters
Right.
because if it's different here and it's not, like, it has to be the same. So I never thought I would ever have to struggle figuring out what my signature would be. I got it figured out, but it took a little longer than I thought it would ever take. But yeah, it's insane. It's a great feeling, and the whole fandom is just so welcoming. I love being a part of it.
Yeah, practicing your autograph is like you made it, like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's a good problem to have to stress out over that,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
There's so much more that you could be stressing out over.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to plug before we let you go? Like I saw on your Instagram you sell stuff on Mercari. Like
Yeah.
that's cool. Like I'm totally
Yeah.
gonna follow you on Mercari, and I want to buy something, even if it's something little and stupid, just so I can be like, who I got this from.
Thanks.
Because if you can't tell by my background, I'm a huge collector, and I collect all kinds of horror movie shit and true crime memorabilia. So I would love to buy something from you and put it in my collection and display it in my bar.
Heck yeah, thank you. Yeah, I got a bunch of like random vintage posters. Well, not random, but like really cool vintage posters. So I threw them up there back from like early 2000s, and some are autographed, some are not, but still, those are really cool. And I'll occasionally throw up like some paintings. Again, I hate painting, but I do it because it is calming in some sense. So I have some like original paintings I'll throw up there every once in a while. Nothing like Picasso, but I'll throw it up there for some extra, just from extra stuff out there. And clothing I'm trying to get rid of, but nothing super on my brand, I would say. I do want to get out there and like do more like maybe tutorials, and people have asked me if I'm doing classes, and that is something I'm trying to really nail. I just need to find the right platform and something that's going to be appropriate and fair to everybody, considering I'm not always home and I don't have, a day a week to sit down and do a full class with people. So I would
start a Patreon, dude.
I have thought about it, but it also leads to question like, what am I gonna send out to
Makeup,
people every
because
month?
I had a girl already comment. She wanted me to ask you how you do your eyebrows. There you go. First Patreon video.
My
$5
eyebrows.
a
Oh
month.
gosh. Well, I can tell you
You
they're
can-
not even. So
But yeah,
uh,
makeup tutorials or making your own clothes or painting or dyeing your hair. You'd be surprised what people want to watch you do and stuff, and they'd pay you the $5 a month. You know.
I'll definitely have to reconsider and go over some topics with publicly and like see what they want, what
Yeah,
they
there you
want and
go.
everything.
Because
But
you're on like TikTok and Instagram, and you're not on Facebook much, probably, right?
Facebook, I like to keep it pretty tight knit. I like to keep that strictly for family and like close
Yeah,
friends.
I don't blame you at all.
Yeah, I just because it's
It's
social
such a
media is
toxic place.
Facebook is toxic in and of itself, but social media, I think, with the growth of it, while it is great in some aspects, connecting new people, new connections,
Right.
opening up doors creatively, what have you. Some of those are great, but I feel like with the growth and rapid growth with COVID alone too, like it kind of creates the instant gratification and also like vulnerable accessibility in a way. So
Right.
I feel like to make sure like sometimes boundaries are kind of set because like I still have my life, I still have my privacy, I still want to keep some things to myself that I don't want to share. So of all my social platforms, I try to keep that to be Facebook. Like this is reserved for my family, my close friends, my people that are not a part of my professional lifestyle, if you will.
Right. No, that makes sense. I get
Yeah.
it.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, I got some things I'm working out on. Some things I definitely am trying to get out there and do more. And just got a really wild year I'm excited for too.
Cool. I would love to have you back on the show if you're ever interested in that. I hope this was fun for you. Again, thank you so much for taking time out of your Friday night to hang out with us. This was awesome. I'm really happy
Yeah,
about this
thanks.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this was a lot of fun. I don't do a lot of this stuff super often, so for you guys to ask me, I was really excited. This is great. I would love
Cool.
to come back and we can like, I don't know if you ever want to talk like horror movie reviews, I'd love to talk about film. Like I obviously from a makeup standpoint, I could nitpick shit all the way through.
Oh, that's
I
a
was about to
great
say,
idea.
you
Yeah.
probably peel apart everything in movies.
I just recently
I
saw
could
The
see
Black
it.
Phone and I, will always for example, like for it chapter 1, I went to go see it 3 times. Because I was just mesmerized by it. The first time I went to go see it just to watch it. The second time I went to go see it to like pay attention to Easter eggs, and the third time I went to like really put it all together. And yeah, I nitpicked that one apart pretty well. But yeah,
In a good way or a bad way? What do you mean when you nitpicked it apart?
I would say in a good way. I mean, I think it chapter 1 was a awesome reintroduction to the story. I think because it is, and it's an adaptation. It's not necessarily a hardcore remake, but I think just like a reintroduction to the franchise to a new generation, taking a more modern spin on the story. I think it was really well executed. I think, granted, like jump scares became a little more popular or on the rise during that time, so the movie literally put me on the edge of my seat of anxiety. Like the moment that I thought I could calm down, like it just ramped back up. Like I had a heart attack. Like my heart was racing the entire movie. So I thought that was like the pacing of it was entertaining and like a steady flow. And in comparison to chapter 2, like the first one was just really fun. It just laid everything out. Like here's how it's gonna go. And then the second one was all plot story based on how we're gonna finish it. And a lot of people didn't like the second one, but I think if you're watching the movie just to watch it out of the thrill, then of course you're not going to like the second one. But if you're watching for the story of it, how are you not going to like the second one?
Right. I love them both. And I don't think this is true, but I've heard a lot of talk about them wanting to do a prequel, and it would just be nothing that Stephen King wrote. It would be like the director making up his own shit with Bill Skarsgård. So I don't know. I know
That
he
sounds
is
very
playing the
interesting.
Crow. He's playing Eric Draven in the Crow remake that they're coming out with.
Really?
Yeah, I saw like
Holy shit.
like the concept art for it and shit. I'm pretty sure it's a real thing that Bill Skarsgård's going to be the next Eric Draven.
He's
And you know,
fantastic.
he's fucking awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know how people are, they get pissy about, oh, don't touch that movie, don't remake it. You stop ruining the original. And I'm like, you're not ruining the original. The original is still there.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a whole new fucking movie. Just
Yeah.
sit down and be entertained for 90 minutes, you know?
Yeah. I totally respect that too. Like, just if you don't like it, just don't watch it. And if if you're upset with it, then okay, just don't ruin it for other people that might actually like it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Quit being a dick.
Let people like what they like.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck. All right. Well, thank you so much. This is awesome. We'll let you go get back to your Friday evening. And I got your email, so I'll send you an email sometime about like coming back on the show. And yeah, we'll send you the link to like Spotify or whatever. I can hook you up with that. So if you want to share it or whatever, that's totally cool. But
Fuck yeah, that'd be great.
awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This
Thank
is
you,
awesome.
Chevy.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Okay, later.
See you later. What up?
What's up, man?
Man, that went really smooth. That went really, really well. She definitely made our job easy.
Yeah, I feel bad that I put makeup artist because she does so much more.
Well, we didn't,
Like, she
we didn't
kills
know
it,
everything,
man.
and that's why
No,
we
I
wanted to
know.
talk to her because
I know, but then I'm sitting here staring at makeup artists on the screen. I'm like, shit, should have done that.
there's so much more to it. But
yeah, she's amazing. She's a rock star. Like,
dude,
fucking hard worker, man.
like they're my favorite band, and they put on one of the best shows I've ever seen, and it's like,
But
it's
now
because of her.
you know, yeah, dude.
All
You
the
know what I
shit
mean?
that goes behind it. Yeah, it's
Yeah, that's
amazing.
crazy, man.
Yeah, I'd love to have her back on, and we can bullshit about movies. And
Oh yeah, she'll probably put us to shame with some of her reviews.
oh, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is such a fun person. I'm really happy about that. Thank you, Adam Lentich, for putting in the good word for us. We truly appreciate it here at Don't Blame Us. And go to mintageauthentics.com, buy their shit. They have autograph signings from the band, from Nadia, from Chevy. Go do that. And what else? Please donate to our Patreon. $5 a month, $10 a month, whatever you want to do. We got t-shirts, we got koozies, we got moon boots and parachute pants. Fucking,
We do?
if they donate to the Patreon, I'll get them some goddamn parachute pants.
I'd love to see you in those.
Oh, dude, I'll rock the shit out of them. I don't give a fuck with the moon boots, baby. I will get down. I don't give a fuck. Well, I think that's it, man. That was really good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Audie. Fucking you kicked ass tonight.
Yes, sir.
I'm
I
gonna.
didn't say much. I was letting her talk, and I was mesmerized. Very good storyteller.
Yes. Yes,
But,
she made our job really easy. She was wonderful. That was my favorite guest so far. Definitely the most fun.
But that's it, man. I appreciate it. Chevy, if you're listening, thank you again.
Yep. Slap
shout
this
out
up on
to-
all the shit so I can listen to it. I'm gonna drink some beers and listen to Ice Nine Kills, man.
Hell yeah.
That's what I'm gonna go do.
All right, brother. Love
All
you,
right,
dude.
brother. Love you too, man. I'll talk to you later.
See ya.
Peace out.
Thank you for tuning in to our little Passion Project podcast. Remember, we go live every single Friday night, same damn time, same damn channel. So if you miss it, don't blame us.